Well, I believe that the supply chains have to go down in order to sort of starve out the camps, I guess, whatever we're calling it. Because if you think about it, they're not going to do any level of like preparedness stalking at any of the locations because they can't risk any of the Johns, right? Just sort of barricading themselves in there. So it's like every man that goes into like babysit has to either eat whatever somebody left there or has to bring in a limited amount of groceries, to sustain him and what he's watching, right? So, because they're not going to keep it fortified with any kind of supplies in case of this kind of end of time scenario, because then any man could just barricade himself in there at any point, is what I've been thinking. This is what I've been thinking. So, it makes sense that, sustenance infrastructure has to go down, and then you really can track and trace, who's trying to come up with too much food, etc., etc. It doesn't necessarily mean that any of the individual Johns can't be ready to hightail it over to one of the locations, but then it's, you're definitely gonna notice which men aren't home, you know what I mean? Like, they all have families and lives, so which ones are gonna go keep, their properties alive, right? Who's gonna keep their holdings alive? So anyway, that's my thinking right now. Is that you can literally starve out that situation by putting us in like a, 3 to 6 month snowstorm, quite frankly. But they're taking, looks like flights are a big issue. I don't know if the government's going to reopen in a couple days or not, but it's kind of interesting how they're like, well, if the government doesn't reopen, we're going to have 8% cancellations by Thursday, and then we're going to have 10% by Friday. It's like, how? Like, which flights? It's like, how do you guys know this exact? I don't know, man. Like, how do you know exactly which flights are getting canceled because of this? And they're saying they're like 2,000 air traffic controllers down. Like, they're all retiring, and you couldn't see this coming. Like, in the year 2000, you hired like every air traffic controller you need, and they're like all retiring this year, and you guys didn't see this coming for 25 years. It's like, how are we at an air traffic controller shortage? Also, it's like, people need jobs.